Welcome to the Scottsdale Vibes podcast. I'm Alicia Haygood. I don't know if you've watched the news. I don't know if you've heard, but the market's kind of going crazy. Life is unpredictable sometimes, but we are going to turn all of that into the housing market here in Scottsdale, how it's affecting us, what it's looking like. This tends to go into some of the slower season because it's summer, but as you all know, we have our favorite real estate agent, Shawn Shackelton, who's going to dive into really just the minuteness of the facts versus the scare tactics. So let's take a short break. We have Shawn Shackleton back at the table with us. When it comes to protecting you, your family, and all your assets, you need to have someone that you can trust. And that's Jeremy Mueller of State Farm Insurance. Jeremy Mueller has lived in Scottsdale his whole life. How can anyone else know your needs more than someone who's been here and seen it all? Jeremy and his team are always ranked in the top % at State Farm. He cares, he's knowledgeable, and most importantly, he's always available. Don't believe me? Give him a call at 480-515-5223 or find him at jeremymueller.com. Okay. You're our favorite person. You're the real estate economist. I literally had one listener email me and call you this. They asked.
I am not an economist.
I know, and I literally wrote back.
She's
not an economist. Don't do that to her.
Right.
But it's going crazy. Everyone is concerned with the past week. Sure. By the way, I want to say really quickly, we are recording this the Wednesday before it airs. So anything could happen between now and there. Don't hold Shawn and I to this.
Right.
But a lot is happening in the market. How is this affecting us locally here with our real estate and our housing market? Because from my expertise that I've learned from you, I see prices dropping. I see a few more houses on the market, and that is where my knowledge with this ends.
You're like, and I'm done.
And I'm out.
Yeah. So all true, right? Our inventory is increasing, but before everybody then starts saying, oh my gosh, inventory is increasing, prices are going to plummet. No.
Yeah, it's not.
No. I mean, we just keep in mind right now we're at 26,000 homes on the market in the entire valley.
Okay, I was going to say that's the valley number.
That's the valley, right? And we have to think back to when our market did crash, which was 2008, 2009. We had 59,000. So big difference in the number of overall listings that we had on the market. So that's the first thing. The second thing is overall in our Phoenix market, again, we are in a buyer's market.
Yeah.
I say that with caution because then we have to look at it city by city.
Okay.
And not every city is in a buyer's market. So some cities are still in a seller's market. I say that with caution as well because it is not a crazy seller's market where sellers can put any number they want on their house. So it's an extremely soft seller's market where sellers really need to be careful about how they price their house. Because if they don't price their house right from the get-go, you're probably going to be doing some price reductions.
And that's what we're seeing now, some of these. And then it is, one of these, it's like the 2-3 week times, and all of a sudden, after a month or two, you're seeing I've seen some drop $50,000 to $70,000 over that kind of thing. And
understand too, sometimes when we look at the numbers and the data that we're seeing right now is showing us kind of what homes have closed and sold. Those sold 30 to 45 days ago. Right? So that doesn't necessarily tell us with what's going on in our market right this minute. So is it a good number to look at? Yes. But you have to look at a few other things as well to determine how is the supply and demand affecting some of this? Because our supply is going up, our demand is going down. Now, I say that, and I just had a conversation with Tina on my YouTube channel, and I said, I know that when you dive into the data, it's showing us that our demand is down. However, I have a lot of buyers. I have a lot of buyers that are looking right now, and they really want to buy. We can't find the house for them, so they are not buying. So in my opinion, the demand is there, but it's almost suppressed because they're not finding the house that they want at the price that they want, so therefore they're not buying. So it's not something that, it's not a necessity. They do not buyers right now do not have FOMO like they had during COVID
like 4 or 5 years ago, exactly.
Yeah, they just don't. They're taking it more slowly. They're really analyzing things. They're looking at things. They're saying, where can I get the best house with all the things that I want for the best price?
Right.
And
that says a lot because now that there is a time to wait. There is no rush for it. I see how more houses will stay on the market possibly longer.
Yeah, our days on market has definitely increased. But has it increased drastically? Has it increased massively?
No,
have we gone from 30 days on the market to 150? No.
Yeah.
No. It's added maybe overall, again, it's added maybe a week.
Okay, that's not.
No,
It seems like a lot.
it does.
Let's talk about the different luxury markets when it comes to how the housing's working. What are you seeing from some of these clients of yours that can't find the houses they're looking? Are they the 3-4 bedrooms? Are they more of like the 2-4 million? Like, what is that kind of median zone that people are like, I'll wait because I'm not having the perfect size house I'm looking for?
Well, I mean, I think that's going to depend, and
Of
I would
course.
say that it's in every price point.
Okay.
I mean,
That's what I was gonna
buyers
ask
are reacting somewhat similarly in every price point.
Okay.
However, the luxury market was doing really, really, really
Right.
well. Right. And it still is, but I've been seeing a shift.
Okay.
So again, back to what we just talked about, the houses that we're seeing closed right now in the luxury market, they went under contract 30, 45 days ago. Sometimes 60, right? Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, or the buyers or sellers just need a longer close for that. So I think that in the luxury market, I think we're going to see some shifting in the overall health of the market. Do I think it's plummeted? Absolutely
No,
not.
and you've said that
Absolutely
constantly,
not.
yeah.
But do I think that we're going to see a little bit of a slowdown in that luxury market? I do, and part of the reason people in the luxury market don't love uncertainty in the stock market.
Yes, and that's
what we're seeing.
And
right
see, that's
now.
the difference between now and COVID too. There
Yeah.
wasn't uncertainty in the stock market for many years, and now that is.
Right.
And so it's kind of fluctuating that way. So that's interesting. I was kind of thinking about that.
Right.
Let's talk about the Cromford Report. It's
Yeah.
your favorite.
I love it.
Your favorite thing.
I love
It was
it.
big news a couple weeks ago. How is that working right now with the market and
Well, I
and
mean,
the
it's
rates?
it's showing us all those things that we just talked about. It's showing us that we're in a buyer's market. It's showing us that we're continuing in a buyer's market. And in the Valley, we don't see a buyer's market often. And understand too, I want to preface this because a lot of times people that are out there, if they're talking to agents that maybe even aren't in our market or that don't use a Cromford Report, those people are looking at if there's a 6-month supply of inventory on the market, then it's a buyer's market. If there's less than 6 months on the market, then it's a seller's market. The Cromford Report looks at it at a much more detailed level. So that is not what we're looking at. We're not looking at overall month supply on the market. We're looking at supply and demand. We're looking at a few other factors that dive into that really give us the overall health and movement in the market. Right? So we can have the same amount of homes that we have on the market right now, but they could be moving a lot faster. The demand could be a lot higher.
Yeah.
Therefore, we're going to be in a seller's market. Right now, the movement just isn't happening as fast.
Yeah.
We have homes coming on the market. They're not going out as fast. And that was what we saw during COVID. We still had a lot of homes going on the market during those COVID years and when everything was absolutely crazy. But the overall balance of homes that we saw active inventory on the market was about 4,500 to 5,000.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But we still had a ton of houses that were basically churning, right? In transactions. That's why our market was so crazy.
Okay.
And that's why the prices just kept going up. So that's what we're seeing. We're just kind of seeing that slowdown in that overall movement in the market. We're having houses come on the market. They're sitting a little bit longer. They're going off the market, but more slowly.
You think like after like the 5 years of the craziness, it's just kind of, I don't want to use plateauing, but just kind of settling down a little bit?
The reality is that we are back to a much more normal market, but people don't remember what normal was.
We've been living in chaos for so long.
People don't remember what normal was, so they're like, oh my gosh, this is such a drastic change. What is going on? The sky is falling. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, you can take a little bit more time to find the house that you want to buy, and sellers just have to really understand buyers are taking more time. They do want things that are clean, updated, all the things. Does it have to be absolutely perfect? No. I mean, they understand that, at least a good agent's going to explain to them, like, look, this is not a brand new house. And even with brand new houses, I've been having this conversation a lot too. Brand new houses, they think, oh, well, I'll just go buy a new build. New builds have their own challenges,
Yeah.
They just do.
Well, especially now with everything that's going on of like the supplies and stuff like that.
And it's even beyond that, right? It's before all of that happened, it's that you're going to get delivered a house that might not be all the way done in your eyes, but you're closing on that house, and now you're living with these brand new best friends of yours that are called subcontractors.
Finishing the house while
you're living there. I mean, it's not 100% ideal all the time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, although that brand new house looks pretty and it's very emotional when you walk into the model homes, that's not that's not what you're being delivered.
Yeah.
One. And two, there's kinks that have to be worked out in that process as well, no matter what.
Where are you seeing some of the biggest areas that people are looking for, or more people are trying to find a house in? Is it? I mean, I know North Scottsdale is like more of the single family housing units and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
How is that looking? Are people, because it's a tight market, are they trying to go outside of Scottsdale to different areas of the valley? Or?
Well, I mean, if people want Scottsdale, they want Scottsdale. So
Right.
they'll
wait,
go.
again, like
yeah,
you
they'll
said.
wait. They're looking. They're being patient with where they want to be. Because my big thing whenever I'm talking to a buyer is it's we need to find your location first.
Okay.
Where do you want to be? What's your lifestyle like, and what do you want to be around you? Because that's important.
Yes.
Because once we find that, we can find the house.
Yeah.
You know, that part will come, but finding the location that you want to be in is really important.
Yeah.
And then we have to talk about price point, because maybe you want to be, you know, in Silverleaf, but your price point is $1 million.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's not going to
Not
happen.
gonna happen.
You know, I mean, there's some, I don't get that.
Yeah.
I don't get that. But I mean, I'm just using that as an
Yeah,
example.
yeah.
You know, it'd be like somebody saying they want to be in Paradise Valley, but they wanted to spend, you know, $500,000. It's not happening.
No, that's not going to happen.
Right.
In Scottsdale, really.
Right.
You have an amazing YouTube channel, super active, and you interview real estate agents from other areas and around the nation. What are you hearing from them and their markets, and how that's comparing to here?
Well, it's really interesting, because not all markets are behaving the same at all. Where before, again, during those COVID years, every market was doing the same thing.
Okay.
Every market was just crazy bananas.
Interesting.
Now, depending on where they are, some of their markets are still really hot. Their inventory is really low still. So the sellers still do have the 100% the upper hand. But it's not the case everywhere.
Okay.
You know, I would say that when I would talk to some of the agents that I know in California, their market was kind of leaning towards what our market was looking like. Then the fires happened.
Yeah.
And now, you know, their market has heated back up because there's less inventory. All of those people that were displaced have to find housing either via rental or buy another house until they can figure out what they're going to do with, you know, the house that unfortunately burned down.
Yeah.
You know, so there's just a lot of other factors that play into some different markets. So it's really important to understand all those, no matter where you're buying, you know.
Where are you seeing a lot of influx of new population coming from?
You know, lately I've been seeing it from a lot of different places. I've got
Interesting.
people that are coming from, West Virginia. I've got a few people coming from Florida.
Okay.
I've got somebody coming from Colorado. I've got one coming from California.
So really, it literally is everywhere.
Yeah, it really is everywhere. I mean, and what's interesting is, again, because our job market has been really good, and it still is good, I've got 2 people that are being relocated here.
Interesting.
for
That's
jobs.
great for us.
Yeah.
Because that's what we want to see, is that kind of build up as well.
Yeah.
With everything. What's next?
Well, I mean, I think the big question, I think, still leans on interest rates, which if anybody tries to answer that question with extreme, you know, conviction in their voice that this is what's going to happen, I don't believe them.
Don't use them. Don't trust them.
I don't believe them. I mean, because again, we were talking about this before. On last Friday, I was watching the interest rates, and I was watching the 10-year Treasury, and the 10-year Treasury last Friday actually dipped below 4, which we hadn't seen in a long, long time. By the end of the day, it was just up over 4.
Okay.
And that is the direct correlation to our mortgage interest rates.
Right. We've talked
right?
about this before.
Yeah.
Right.
So today, Wednesday, not, you know, again, we've got a week or so before this airs, but right now it's at like 4.6. So our interest rates kind of bounced back up. We're still below 7.
Okay.
But it bounced back up. I think, and I've said this forever, I think that what we're going to see with our interest rates is I think we're going to see a lot of bouncing through this year. I think we're going to see some dips. And I mean, all those people last Friday, if you did not lock your rate last Friday and you were under contract, you should have. Your lender should have called you and said, we need to lock right now.
Yeah.
But I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see some opportunities for lower interest rates, but they're going to be short. Okay. I think the time frame on those are going to be short. And I think that it's just going to take some time for some of the things that are happening, you know, nationwide to kind of get figured out, shuffled out, because there's just a lot of uncertainty in what's going to happen.
Oof, isn't there ever?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Be sure to call Shawn Shackleton, the Shackleton Group, for all your real estate needs. As you heard, she's very in tune and understands the market. She's not an economist. I need to preface that. I really have had so many listeners reach out.
I just pay attention.
I know, and it helps. In the meantime, stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to have the calendar of events. Buying a home can be scary and sometimes frustrating, but all of that can go away with the right realtor. And that's where Shawn Shackleton with the Shackleton Group is here for you. Shawn has over 25 years experience in real estate. She's here to get you what you want and won't settle for less. She's experienced, knowledgeable, and understands this market, which these days is always changing. Take the stress out of your next home purchase by calling Shawn at 480-734-7277. You can also find her at theshackletongroup.com. Lots of fun things going on this weekend, so get ready. Scottsdale Jazz Fest is happening. Go get your tickets now. It is going to be an amazing weekend of beautiful music, Latin, jazz, dancing, fun. Get to know your community members a little bit more. And it's going to be outside at the Scottsdale Center for Performing Arts and the Civic Center lawn. I love it. I'll be there, so come check us out. Junk in the Trunk is happening at WestWorld. So get your wallets, get your big trucks, because now is the biggest vintage market of the year is happening at WestWorld. Tickets are VIP starts Friday night. Tickets range anywhere from $50 to $10, depending on the day that you go, so get ready. But if shopping isn't your thing, maybe the Scottsdale Fair is. That is also happening at WestWorld. My suggestion, families, is drop mom off to go shopping. Dad, you can take the kids to go play on the games, and then everyone wins at the end of the day in the same location. So go ahead, check out, get your tickets early and your wristbands for the fair. Again, that is happening on the WestWorld lawns as well. Have a great week, Scottsdale. Keep vibing, and I'll see you around town.